frame rate, FPS, frames per second, unique New York, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by. As always, thank you for taking time out of your day to be a part of mine. Today, we're talking about FPS. Frames per second. Now this is kind of exciting because this is the first video I'm making about videography, I guess, whatever, I don't know. First video that we're not actually talking about photography right now. So frames per second. As you know, on this channel, we're not about the technical. We're not going to get into the specifics and the rules of why and what the heck all these science and shenanigans means. It's just about quick basics. 24 FPS is the one I would recommend using for most of your videos, unless you want to start doing some slow-mo stuff. The ones that I always use is 24 FPS, 60, and 120. What's interesting though is the fact that the camera that I'm using now, my EOS R, does not shoot at 120 frames per second, but my iPhone does. That kind of goes back to what I've been telling people before in my other videos, that an iPhone is a good way to start because you can get all those different variations and all those different settings that you want to get good quality videos. Before I start going into slow-mo, let's talk about shutter speed and how that affects your image. A rule to always remember is whatever frame rate you're choosing to shoot at, your shutter speed should be double that. Example is if you're shooting at 24 frames per second like I am right now, then that means your shutter should be at 148 or at 150. If you're shooting at 60, it should be 120. If you're shooting at 120, then it should be 240, and so on and so on. The reason being is motion blur. So what I want you to do right now is go ahead and just wave your hand in front of your face. Naturally, you're going to see that little bit of a blur going on with your hand. That's what we naturally see with our eye. Now here's that same frame rate, but with now 100 of a shutter speed. Again, same frame rate, but now I'm shooting at 500 of a shutter speed. Now you can see how it's starting to look a little bit more choppy. Like it doesn't look like there's any blur. It's a lot more static. Now if you go back to 150, you can see that motion blur is back and it looks a lot more natural. So that's what I meant in my last video when I was saying your shutter speed can affect what your image looks like when you're shooting at a certain frame rate. Now let's see what it looks like when I'm shooting at 60 frames per second. Here we are at 60 frames per second. My shutter speed is at 1/125 and it still looks the same, right? Now the reason why it doesn't look like it's in slow-mo is because I haven't interpreted that clip in Premiere Pro to be read at a 24 frame rate. Real quick, let me show you how to interpret your footage so you can get the slow motion effect. All right, so in Premiere Pro, you're gonna right click on the clip that you want to change and you're going to find modify. Once you find modify, you're going to click on interpret footage. As you can see, this is the one that I shot at 60 frames per second, but I went ahead and already changed it to 24. After you do that, you hit OK. After I do that, and here we are back to normal. Understanding those frame rates and also understanding what type of shutter you should have when you're shooting at that certain rate really does start to increase the quality of your videos, and you'll see a difference in that look that you're getting. And one thing you'll definitely notice when you start shooting at 24 and your shutter speed is low, you're gonna get a lot of light in. So the way you're gonna combat that is one, of course, close blinds, use some professional lighting to start lighting your film. And if you still don't have that, a great thing to have is an ND filter. You're not gonna have all that to start off with. So that's when I start recommending to shoot at those higher frame rates and adjust your shutter to get what you need. I always recommend to keep your aperture wide open, that way you still keep that depth of field look that you have, and then keep your ISO low as possible just so you don't get too much grain in your image. So to recap, your standard frame rate should be 24. If you want to start getting into slow motion, then you want to go to 60 and then 120. And always remember to double your shutter of that frame rate. If you want the slow motion look, then you're going to go with 60 or 120. All right guys, well that's it for this video. That was a lot of information thrown in there. If you have any questions, by all means leave a comment down below and I'll take a look at them, and if I can answer them, I definitely will. And if there's a lot of repeat of the same topic, then I'll definitely make another video to go more in depth of this, because this videography is such a big topic. There's so many other factors that go into it. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and hit the bell to be notified when I make new videos. Until next time, guys. Later.